Alright, so in this video I'm going to talk about a few things that I liked about the parts that I read of Plainly Speaking, an autobiography of Harry Truman by Merle Miller. And one of the things that I ended up wanting to read this book and reading this book was because of this quote by Mark Twain, and it's also mentioned in the book, ironically. Um, Mark Twain says, "Always do right. This will gratify some people and astonish the rest." And I'll go into the excerpts right now. I'll give you some time to read it, or you can go ahead and pause the video so you can read it. I took pictures of the book. It's not the best quality, but it's enough to get my point across. What I liked about this one is how Harry Truman used to be called Four Eyes, just like this other kid who's asking him a question, or maybe he's an adult. Um, and of course, he had to fight through it. You got to be above those calling you names. You've got to do more work than they do, and it usually comes out all right in the end. Another thing that he said was, I always had my nose stuck in a book, a history book mostly. Of course, the main reason you read a book is to get a better insight into the people you're talking to. There were about 3,000 books in the library downtown, and I guess I read them all, including the encyclopedias. I'm embarrassed to say that I remembered what I read too. How it relates to me is I'm kind of the same way. Uh, I'm always reading something. Maybe it's not always books these days, but it's now tweets, articles, news, whatever's online. I'm always reading things. What's funny is in 1992, in junior high school, they had this contest. I think it was bingo. Yes, it was bingo. And I always have bad luck. My life is full of bad luck, but that's fine because it makes me work extra hard to minimize luck in everything that I do. So that's why I like strategy. I have to find out the best way to beat people who are lucky. You know, luck always beats skill. Anyways, um, I won in the bingo tournament, and everyone was winning like videos, VHS tapes of like the newest, latest movies out. They're winning money. They're winning like big boxes of candy. Guess what I won? I won a 1992 encyclopedic dictionary. Yeah, but it helped because I read that thing over and over and over again, and that's when I just started to really learn about a lot of different things. I mean, they didn't have r- internet full of information back then. You had to go to the library. I read, a lot of crazy different stuff at the local library. That's great, and it's cool that the president was the same way. This president, at least. Okay, uh, so he keeps going, and why do I like this one? Ah, yes. So I think it was the autobiographer talking about how in Korea there's really not um, a lot of people excited about what they're doing with Korea. So he suggested dramatizing um, to the audience about their situation in Korea. And Harry Truman was like, mm-mm. It's like totally against what he wanted. Unlike previous presidents lately, they want to dramatize everything, especially mainstream media. And he says, "Now you look here, young man. You ask me to tell you the facts and I'll do it, but I'm not going to be any play actor. Now, what's your next question?" So, I mean, damn, I love this guy. Um, I wish we could have a president like him. Um, okay, and this is the last one. And this is something that I kind of knew. History repeats itself. You know that term. But how much do you really know about history? You have to be reading a lot. I read a lot. And I learn a few things. I don't. Sometimes things don't stick in. But when I think about it, if I talk about it, if I'm reading the book and I write something about that part, it helps me remember it. So I'm gonna remember this, and uh, I think this whole page even is really great. But when you look into what Marcus Aurelius wrote in the Meditations, and I want to read that now because I haven't. Um, there's a couple of lines, and I kind of like it too. It says, um, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. First, do nothing thoughtlessly or without a purpose. Secondly, see that your acts are directed to a social end. Today I have got out of all trouble, or rather I have cast out all trouble, for it was not outside but within in my opinions. It is not fitting that I should give myself pain, for I have never intentionally given pain even to another. Always be sure whose approbation it is you wish to secure, and what ruling principles they have. Then you will neither blame those who offend involuntarily, nor I didn't get that part. But I really like the first part, even the second part. If it is not if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Um, that's great advice, and that was a long time ago. And I really, really, really didn't really like the Roman Empire, but I might actually have to look into this a little bit more because this looked pretty good. Some things I agree with. Maybe I'll read the whole Meditations excerpt, and I might not like the majority of it. So I'll pick and choose, but I mean, it seems pretty good. So this is what happens when you read, especially history. You see people, individuals that whatever you're reading about and what influenced them. And then you go and read about that person that influenced this person that you pretty much admire or like at the end, about getting to know more about this person. And then you see who influences them. And then it just keeps going back and back and back further in history. And you just see just a lot of influences throughout history. And I think, we're right now a culmination of everything that's happened in the past. Once we forget that, once we lose that, we start over. Human nature uh, comes out to the forefront. You don't have, imagine not having all these philosophical thinkers way back, like tens of thousands of years ago. 10,000, maybe that's too much. Thousands of years ago. Yeah, 10,000s of years ago. That sounds about right. I mean, it's incredible how much of that knowledge has just been kept and passed down, and to this day, it's still the same. A lot of it is still the same. Anyways, this is just kind of like the deep thought for today or tonight. Uh, Tell me if you like it. Tell me your thoughts in the comments, I guess. All right.